Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. And my son is bouncing around on a ball in the background, and I don't know why, because I literally told him we were just going live. My name is Adam Thursby, Molson FL. Welcome to Recovery Drive Week 4. We are here to talk about it. Joining me this week, first timer Adam Willie, right below me there on your screen, ladies and gentlemen. We got Retro Coffin back joining us this week, and Mr. Anderson up in the corner. And as just with last week, via satellite, well, they have no video in Wales. So we are back with Ridian Lloyd Davis. Thank you, sir, for being here. Actually, I appreciate all you guys being here. So before we get into it, we're going to talk about first Silverstone, last week's race. Before we get into standings and everything, I want to talk to you gentlemen about how you felt about the race in general. Where you know, did you enjoy the rain? Was it fun?
I think the rain was good. It was good that it came. I mean, it looked like everybody's trying to be a little bit more cautious, trying to be a little bit more patient. There's a lot of good battles throughout both races.
Mm-hmm. There were. I agree. And this is why I wanted everybody's opinion. So I'm going to shut up for a minute and just let you guys keep talking, because I want to hear what your thoughts on this race. I really do.
I mean, I personally love driving in the rain. Just at the same time, my fuel load calculation didn't help me as well as taking damage. Even if I didn't take damage, I would have ran into a weird problem of only having 60 liters, and that was when the rain was starting to go away. So I had to put dries on, knowing that it was going to be dry, and I had to suffer the unbearable 8 laps of being on 23 psi dries until it dried up. But I mean, it's all part of the strategy, all part of the fun. Yeah, I had fun with it either way.
Excellent. What about you, Willie?
So this was actually my first rain race ever, and I thought it went pretty well. Me and who was it, Driscoll, had a pretty good battle there in the beginning. But overall, I didn't see what was really happening behind me, but it was good. I liked it.
Excellent. That's what about you, Davis? How'd you feel this week?
Enjoyed it. Much like Anderson, I always enjoyed racing in the rain. I don't know why. I think I've got a bit of Jensen Button in me that in the dry I'm sort of so, but in the wet, I'm quite a bit faster. And I felt like I nailed the tire changes. Like just as soon as it became optimum, I was in the pit. But I screwed up my race with 2 fouled up pits. So I'm happy, but also quite frustrated.
I can understand that. Well, and here's the thing is, for the AM and the Pro-Am guys, the race stayed wet the whole time. It was 45 minutes. Those guys had wet conditions the entire race. However, the Pro and Silver drivers had to deal with a dry out, with 20 minutes left, roundabout, somewhere in there. And so we saw how that played out. And my curiosity is, I don't know where any of you guys stopped during the race, where you made your pit stop, but we really noticed during the course of this race that there were some drivers who went in just as the rain stopped, and they had the opportunity to put those dries on in the Pro and Silver race versus holding on to the wets. If you went in early during Pro and Silver, you were kind of boned at the end of that race, right? Like, is that something that's going to play in a lot? If you're still on wets and the track's getting dry, what does that do to your lap time? What does that do to how well you can race?
I mean, you're just gonna overheat, and you can't compete with the guys in the dry. Like, you can try to hold them off, but there was a battle between a Ferrari and a Porsche towards the end, and you could see the Ferrari was just pulling away from it. It just could not, like, the Porsche couldn't keep up with it.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing to think about is putting dries on early. It definitely grains the tire a lot harder, just because you're trying to force all that grip and all that friction onto it. So that's another thing to think about, especially as the dry conditions open up. Those people who put on the dries later are going to be flying past you, which is another problem that I was running into when it did dry up, but I didn't really have much of a choice.
Gotcha. All right, cool. Well, again, I thought it was great to see you guys racing in the wet. One of the things that stood out to me, and we're going to pause this and we're going to go over to, we're going to jump over to the standings that we're going to talk about here in a moment. But here's one of the things I noticed this week. We didn't have anywhere near the incidents that we have in a dry race. Right?
Beautiful thing.
Well, hey, all fair in love and war. We've seen the Pro and Silver races, right? AM and Pro-Am have stayed relatively clean through T1, haven't been a ton of problems. However, Pro and Silver, when we talk about, how T1 into basically the entire first lap has looked, it's been brutal. And it wasn't like that this week. Now, I have to assume the rain had something to do with that people were being more cautious because they were in the rain. Is that a fair assessment that people just slowed down and tried not to go for the gap that normally, if it were dry, they might have gone for?
Yeah, 100%.
I would agree with that.
The rain.
I would also have to agree with that.
I think the rain definitely. I think what it is that people don't have the same sense of confidence that they do.
Also true.
Yeah, whereas in the rain you can feel the car moving under you, and you think, "Oh, I'm not sure about this."
a lot of times when you do like the wet races, like you sometimes go into it with the mentality of you're no longer fighting the people around you, you're fighting the track. And
Mhm.
you know there's going to be incidents around you, you know the people ahead or behind you are going to slip here and there. So position's not so much concern. It's just the conditions and what you're fighting with is the car and the track, not really the people around you.
Okay. So in the chat, Lucky Zero says correlation does not equal causation, which I would 100% agree with. So to test this, should we just drive the rest of season 4? Every race is in the rain?
I'm
Well, but hold on,
not a fan of Masato in the rain.
we know
Say.
we know how the first 3 races went, right? We saw what the result was of it, and again, this is mainly on the pro and silver drivers, and I think these guys have a Dunning-Kruger effect going on. I really believe that there is something there that says I'm in this pro class or I'm in this silver class, and I can just throw it down. People will get out of my way, right? So we get to a wet race. We see an awesomely clean lap 1. We see an awesomely clean T1. Just go the rest of season 4 in the rain and see if y'all just calm down a little bit, right? Like, is that what needs to happen? Again, I'm not saying it was the rain. I'm just saying it's the first rain race we've had this season, and things went much smoother than they have in the past.
Yeah.
I mean, if it happens twice and twice is the same, it's now you've got proof.
Exactly.
All right. So we'll do Masano dry, and then the race after, we'll go ahead and throw the rain back in.
Yeah,
There you go.
The race
Oh
after,
gosh,
Snetterton.
Snetterton in the rain. That sounds like a nightmare.
Awesome. Well, let's talk about results real quick here for this race. Then we'll get over to the overalls and talk about each class. First up, our AM class, Adam Willie joining us tonight, sitting in number 1 now with 50 points on the season. Look at him go. Bruce Hopkins and Lee Melvin finish out your podium. Kristen Youngendike, Michael Kazbuski, Zenith Ascendant, Alex Martin, Michael Zwanenberg, and Kenny O'Connor, along with Chief Blaze moving himself up into the top 10 in the M class. So Willie, what are you doing, man?
Practice. Lots of practice.
That's a monster. I've raced with him in iRacing. He's just a killer. I'm waiting for him to move up to silver. He's going to be silver next season.
God, no.
Watch.
No.
Very eager. I'll give a compliment with you on stream with me. Very eager. Like always asking questions, always wanting to get the best information to try and tweak his line and breaking points, anything he can get his hands on in terms of info. I think that's really helping him right now.
100%. And doing a great job as we've seen so far in season 4. And I'm really climbing to the top of the ranks in AM Pro-Am class. Let's jump over. Terry Driscoll leading that one with Gerald Butz and Bob Charlton in the top 3. Rick Pixel, who I thought was going to stay up there, but has slipped a little bit into P4. Matt Comiskey, Josh Harrison, Robert Kinney, Paul Morris in that Jaguar, the only one we've seen. Your boy Blue back all the way down into P9 this week. And Josh Butler, number 10. So again, a little bit of a toss up there because we saw Blue doing a lot better in earlier races. The rain not really his strong suit during the course of Silverstone this week. Jumping into silvers though, Niall Schlieder, Alejandro Aguilar, Amans Petrovic taking podium at Silverstone. Jan Barth, who is in our chat, along with Delilah Hazel in the top 5, Nikolai Tsiabuk, Rob Kesar, Simone Bardari, Mike Jones, and Zap getting himself a top 10 finish. I'm happy to see that for Zap. I don't know about the rest of y'all, but Zap struggled, right? He loves his Porsche. He's not going to change from the older one. Has struggled a bit. So a top 10 finish this week, that's a good thing in silver. And Blue, you don't get to say those messages in my chat. You don't get to tell me that in my chat. Let's go to pro real quick before we get to our overall standings. Blaine Hall winning at Silverstone. Really ran away with it. Wilson Fernandez and Gasolina in your top 3. And look at the best lap here during the course of this race. Blaine Hall getting down to a flat 2 minutes at Silverstone. Wilson Fernandez with a 2:05 Gasolina with a 2:01. Tobias Gable with a 2:05 there in P6, or I'm sorry, with a 2 minute in P6. Other than that, nobody was touching Blaine Hall's time.
I think Hall said that lap time on the last lap.
He did.
Yeah, I believe so.
In
Once
my
it dried
defense-
out, right?
In my defense, I had a 2-minute flat that I invalidated at the end.
Oh. So where?
It wasn't
off
2-minute
track,
flat
Anderson.
like 0.0. It was like 0.8, but still.
Unbelievable. And in our pro class, only the top 10 drivers showing up this week. Andrew Haynes coming in at number 10. Anderson, and there's Anthony Anderson right there with a 2:02.1. So coming in at P9. Were you happy with that performance in the rain, Anderson? Was that like, do you feel like in the rain you did a good job there?
Well, prior to getting commentator cursed, I was doing pretty well as a P4 throughout the first half of the race, and then Otter came side by side with me. I just held the throttle too long, lost the rear, and had a bad time after that, which I had to repair a bunch of damage. I think it was like 45 seconds-ish of damage, so
Wow.
that definitely didn't help.
Yeah, that's not going to help at all. Unbelievable. So let's go to our overall standings after 4 rounds here in season 4. Bruce Hopkins leading our AM class right now. Tristan, I got to scroll up here in the chat because Blue's yelling at me. Yoendike, I guess.
Every time.
It's every time. And it's just like, like if you look at this name, there are letters together that should not go together. And I don't know how to handle that as an American. I'm doing my best, Tristan. At least I can say Tristan. That's my kid's name. So I can say Tristan. There, Tristan is in number 2.
There you go. Easy.
We're set. Adam Willie bringing up P3, that number 1 finish this past week, really helping him out there. Only 10 points to number 2, so he's got plenty of opportunity to move up. What do you think, Willie? Willie, let me ask you. We're 4 rounds in. There's 4 left? Maybe only 3 even. I don't know. I haven't without the schedule in front of me. Where do you think you're landing for this season? You know you got Misano coming up. Where do you think you're going to land for this season?
Honestly, as long as I can keep ahead of Lee Melvin in the next 2 races, I should get top 3. Just because the last race I will not be there.
Oh, so I do not start. That's gonna suck it down. Well, that's too bad.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully you can stay ahead of Melvin there, finish on a podium for this season. Speaking of Lee Melvin, number 4, Michael Zwanenberg in P5, Kenny O'Connor, Kazubski, Grantham, and Alex Martin, along with Joseph Huerta, finishing out your top 10 in the AM class for standings so far after 4 rounds. Rick Pixel still holding on to Pro-Am number 1 with Matt Comiskey and Terry Driscoll sitting on the podium. Bob Charlton, your boy Blue, still in number 5, but I'm going to do this just because he's in the chat, and I know Anderson will take every opportunity to harass him. I got to say, the consistency of Blue, not quite there yet, right?
I could absolutely agree with that.
I'm just
Sorry,
saying.
Blue.
I'm just saying the consistency is not quite there. Now, he's only a point off P4 and only 8 back from P3, but it's just, he needs to get more consistent, I think. Gerald Butz, P6, Adrian Banash, and Robert Kinney, along with Paul Morris and Josh Butler, now pulling up the top 10. Butler, I know, disqualified at this point and dropping out of the standings, so we'll see how those change after next week. Silver class drivers, Delilah Hazel continues to dominate, a P5 finish. That's the worst we've seen so far this season, but really killing it in the silver standings. Alejandro Aguilar, Lee Dorman on your podium with Rob Keesar, Niall Schlieder making up your top 5. Nikolai Tsiabuk, Daniel Pickett missing the last race, still in P7. Jan Barth and Davis in P9, and Simone Bardari P10. Davis, where are you holding on to this season? Where are we going here?
Oh god, I honestly I don't know what's going to happen now. I've made so many silly mistakes so far this season. I've not been able to capitalize on other people screwing up. All I can hope for is that in the last 3 races I get some decent results.
All right.
Because Because in Silverstone, I was ahead of Seabook. I knew I had the pace, but it's I need to stop making mistakes.
Yeah, that's my problem too. I make a lot of mistakes. But to be fair, we've watched Nikolai Tsiabuk across at least 2, if not 3 seasons at this point. Relatively consistent driver, right? Somebody who stays out of trouble, who doesn't, I mean, we're not talking about a top 3 finisher here, but overall, very consistent. I mean, even these here show out 876, a P11 in race 1, but beyond that, Nikolai with very consistent drives. Obviously you have opportunity here though, because you've got Jan Barth ahead of you, only 2 finishes. Daniel Pickett has missed a race. So you've got a lot of opportunity there to make up points across the rest of this season, which will certainly help you.
I think what's crazy is the top 2 compared to everybody else. Those point totals.
Yeah.
Aguilar and Hazel have just run away with it. Aguilar, in particular, impresses me.
In the GTR.
Yeah, how the hell he is driving that GTR so well. Just major, major props to him. But also to Hazel as well, because, you know, female driver who's not been racing for that long at all comes in and is leading silver.
Well, what impresses me about Hazel is, other than this past race at Silverstone, we watched Hazel get gathered up in an incident in T1, right? Just somehow get waffled, whatever it was, didn't appear to be her fault, and then turn around and just make pass after pass after pass after pass, lap after lap after lap, to finish 1-2-1 in the first 3 rounds. Like, and it wasn't because she was leading, right? It wasn't because she was at the front of the pack at the beginning of this race. She got gathered up and then decided to strike back and just kept lapping drivers one after another. And I think that's what's been so impressive to me, and why on stream the focus keeps going there, because it's so hard to, you know, again, using the software I use to see the gaps and everything else. You see a gap and then she makes the pass. And then within about 30 seconds to a minute after we've moved off to someone else, there's another short gap and a pass. The driving's been phenomenal. I can't wait to see where this goes.
Just seems to be really good race pace from her. I think that's the main thing, is she just puts her head down and just goes for it, just cranks out consistent lap after consistent lap. And I think the positions just kind of come to her. It's not even a matter of her like forcing it. It's just just driving. It's like a casual Sunday stroll in the car park.
And the thing is, we've seen there's no forcing on the position gains, right? She's waiting for the opportunity, and when it strikes, she goes. There's no pushes. I don't think we've seen any, if one incident, maybe. That'd be a guess, because I don't think we've seen any so far. So it'll be curious to see how this finds out. What's that?
Very fair driver, as well as being very fast.
100%. We'll be curious to see if Hazel moves up to pro during season 5 when it starts. Speaking of pro class, Blaine Hall, Dimitri Athwal, and Tom Foose in your top 3 holding podium right now. And if you look, Blaine Hall, one bad round, round 2. However, since then, other than that round, very consistent and really jumping ahead on the point standings here over Athwal and Foose. Those two very close together. Fernandez and Gray rounding out your top 5, with Zagorski, Anthony Anderson in P7. Remco Ottens, Charlie Booth, and Andrew Haynes in your top 10. Anderson, P7. Where are we going from here, bud? I mean, you had a podium finish, and since then have had a bit of a struggle. So are we going to see another podium from you?
I would like to see one for Misano. I've been putting in some work on Misano. Snetterton's not really a strong track for me, but we'll see what happens with it. And Suzuka, I'm pretty strong at, so I'm hoping for at least 2 podium finishes before the end of the season. Right. And being so close to the other group in front, I feel like I could maybe launch to P4 if I play my cards right. Goal this season was to get top 3, but we'll see. It's a stretch goal, but I'm still going for it.
All right, rock it out. Let's go. All right, guys. So let's talk about what's coming up. And I know nobody wants to talk about what's coming up, because it's Misano. For some reason, you guys are all upset with Misano. I don't know why. So what's wrong with Misano? Give me the your worst case of Misano.
This is interesting because I actually kind of like the track.
I know. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm just like,
I just heard people complaining, and I'm like, for myself personally, again, I'm a person who likes elevation change, right? So Spa, Brands Hatch, Bathurst, I enjoy those tracks. I know they can be difficult in their own ways, but I actually enjoy them a lot. Misano is very flat, right? But I think has a lot of interesting corners in it and has a really good flow once you get it down. And so I've always enjoyed driving Misano. But I've seen a lot of complaints in the Discord this week about Misano, so I'm wondering, what is the complaint? I don't get it, I guess.
I think it's an underrated track, and not a lot of people know it and run it regularly to really appreciate that track. It, like you said, it does have a lot of interesting corners.
Absolutely agree.
See, I don't have enough hours on Misano to actually talk bad about it, or talk good about it for that matter. I think I've only got an hour or two on it. So
I think the tricky part for it is there's a lot of corners where you have to really be delicate on applying your throttle. Otherwise, you're either going to go full traction control lock, and you're just going to bog down the whole time, or you're just going to lose the rear, depending on the car and how the car handles. I've tested it out on a few cars, and that's been my experience. It's either one or the other, unless you get the throttle just right. So I think that's partially to blame. I think the other part is that tricky double right-hander into left-hander that either you hit perfectly or you go flying off the track into the runoff and you just eat all the grass and potentially knock out all the boards along the way. I think that's probably a part that people hate. Other than that, like I said, I love the track personally, but I can't find really much to blame with it.
Well, I think my favorite part of the whole track, sorry to interrupt, it's just my favorite part is with the long back straight into that flying right-hand corner, where if your timing isn't just, because then you've got another right-hander that's very sharp, not very sharp. It's not a 180 or anything, but sharp enough. You've got to get on the brakes. But as you come through, if you don't hit the timing right, you're either going to spin yourself or you're going to miss your brake point, right? Like, it's very precise where you need to go in that particular corner. And that's where it's always interesting to see people get pulled off their line. They're battling through that section. And so maybe that's the part that people are upset about, concerned about, etc. But I think Misano's a great track personally. I had a lot of fun. Davis, I'm sorry, what were you saying?
To continue with what you were saying, I think one of the main complaints I have seen is that corner. People struggle to get that corner right, and I can understand why. It is a bit unusual. It reminds me a lot of the corner at the end of the straight at Paul Ricard. It's very similar to that. Another thing I think people struggle with Misano, and it was something that I struggled with as well when I started ACC, is it's got a different approach. You need to take big chunks of curb at Misano to get the best lap times, whereas a lot of other tracks, like if you take too much curb, either you've invalidated your lap or you are going for a bit of a fly.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that corner is like what makes or breaks Misano for a lot of people. And I found it helped me a lot is adjusting my setup. I mean, it was borderline undrivable going through there. And then you just start playing around with your setup and it actually becomes pretty fun.
Okay.
But one more thing, since you brought it up, Molson, with that corner you're talking about, the fast right-hander into the sharp right, that corner I think irritates people because you can actually get a double track warning through there if you take the wrong line, because it'll score you as getting off the track at the fast right-hander part, and you'll get a track warning there, and it'll also give you a track warning for going too fast into the sharp right. So you could actually get a double track warning on that one corner.
Gotcha. Well, maybe I can understand the frustration there. Willie, you said you haven't spent a lot of time at Misano. Do you feel prepped for this weekend's race?
Yes and no.
He's a man of few words.
He's a man of very few words. Holy
Nothing
shit.
else to say.
Well, before this, I was stuttering and messing up all of my words. So,
Okay, fair.
but no. Tomorrow, I'm doing a 10-hour race with Josh Butler. See, there I go. With Josh Butler and a couple others.
Oh, wow.
And between that and practice and then the Oval League, long weekend. Not
guess.
enough practice.
Wow. A 10-hour race tomorrow. My goodness.
Yeah.
Good to hear.
And then I have to work on Saturday.
Oh, as long as you're around for ovals.
Yeah. Oh,
Yo,
yeah.
if you're making me drive them, you have to be there. That's the rule. That's
Well,
the
I get
only
off
rule.
at 10, so
Okay,
I'll
perfect.
definitely be there.
Excellent. So we're all prepped up for Misano. That's what's coming up this week. We're going to have a lot of fun watching that race. It's a sprint race this weekend, 30-minute AM and Pro-Am, 45-minute. Oh, my God, I'm going to lose my mind. 45-minute Pro and Silver. So we get ready for that. What's the race after that, Anderson? I'm sorry, I completely forget.
It is Snetterton.
Snetterton. Okay, so we're going to talk about that next week. I don't even want to know because British tracks annoy me, other than Brands Hatch. They drive me nuts. So here's a question I had for you guys, and I thought about this during the course of this week, and as we develop this show, as we continue to expand upon it and do different things, I had a question for you guys that popped into my head this week. There's Anderson just driving.
And I just got PTSD for watching it.
Why don't you?
Rub that
This
in.
is the highlights from the race. I am literally not controlling this at all. So Anderson does what Anderson does, and we all get to watch it afterwards. I wanted to start asking you guys more generalized questions about sim racing each week. And the thing that popped into my head to do this for the first time, and we're going to go round table here and to let everybody have a chance to speak and maybe have a discussion, is you guys all sim race. You've been doing it for a little while. What part of sim racing has leaked into your real life driving, if anything? Is there any part of sim racing that you've learned, something you've learned that's made you better at sim racing, right? That has then leaked into your real life driving?
Anybody?
If you want to go for it, go for it.
I started practicing left foot braking in my car, like actual driving.
Ooh.
Same.
No,
Especially
no.
like at a
I've done it.
drive-through or something. You're just trying to watch it because you're going slow enough that if you mess up, you just try to eat your steering wheel for a second. But
Same.
I think for me, granted, this is with nobody else around on the road. I'll use like apex turning. Like I'll actually like go and turn into like a turn and like hit an apex. Quote
So
unquote.
so going into the other lane is what you're saying.
No. It depends on where it is.
No, 100% going into the other lane is what
on
he's
where
saying.
it is.
He's going into the other lane.
I'm not denying.
I'm not gonna throw myself under the bus like that.
Willie, what about you? Has any part of sim racing wrapped itself into your real life driving?
I will throw myself under the bus. I do Apex whenever I see that there's not a car, and I'm just hammering down, and
Man,
luckily
culture.
haven't got a speeding ticket. No, I lied. I have had a speeding ticket, but not for doing what I do in my car. But I tried left foot braking the other day, and I drive a manual, so that's extremely weird for me, and I will never do that shit again.
I can imagine that. Yeah. That I can imagine very much so. Davis, what about you?
Here's the unusual thing is, I can't drive in real life. I don't have a license. So
Interesting.
Wow.
yeah. So
Wow.
it hasn't. So sim racing hasn't really affected me in that regard, but it has sort of awoken my interest in cars and engineering again. and I've just started a degree in motorsport engineering.
Oh, wow.
Awesome.
Excellent. Well, that's awesome. A hobby can drive you towards something like that. So that's fantastic. And I would say that's definitely bleeding into real life. For myself, I will say I've done both the things that were mentioned, left foot braking and hitting apexes, depending on where I'm at. I have a lot of rural, twisty roads here. And just to give you guys an idea, I drive, from work, I drive a Ford Explorer. My personal vehicle right now is a Honda CR-V. Let me tell you something about a Honda CR-V. There's a particular corner in a particular corners in on a particular road, on a particular route that I might take when I'm going for an overnight for work, that I have to go stay somewhere. And it's kind of like the corkscrew at Laguna. It literally comes, you drop in the top and you go left and you immediately dive right. And it's about a 2.5 story drop through that corner. If I can tell you that a Honda CR-V does not have the center of gravity that a race car has, and the way I know that is the back end cuts loose really easily through a corner like that.
Oh God!
And the way I know that is if you take it at 70 mile an hour, it tends to not like it. So yeah,
Oh, no.
Yeah, it happens.
Something about cornering a CRV at 70 miles an hour just already doesn't sound good.
Listen, it worked out. I made it. I'm just saying the back end cut loose a little bit. It
Okay,
was fine.
but
It was, you know,
were you wearing pants when you were doing that?
in the car, being that I'm technically in public, yes, I was wearing pants at the time. Right now, it's a toss-up. It's like a 50-50 shot of whether or not I have pants on, because I am actually in the race rig because I didn't feel like disconnecting and moving it today. So everybody watching, you got a 50-50 shot as to whether or not I actually have pants on. Point being is, I've tried the left-hand braking. I do apex drive where I can as much as possible. Not so much crossing into the other lane, but what I have found myself doing is, you know, on American roads, you know, you have the double yellow in the middle, you have the white line on the outside. Coming into a corner, I will fade out over the white line and kind of, you know what I mean? You see what I'm saying? Like go wide coming into it and then cut in on the double yellow around that corner. So I do those things. I probably should,
said doo-doo.
but I do.
See,
I did say doo-doo.
Doo-doo.
so I do have another thing. Passing cars. I do practice that as well.
I don't
Wait,
know.
hold on. I
that I
need,
learned that from
I
sim
need some
racing.
elaboration
Yeah,
on
you
that.
got to describe that. Give me a little more detail there before I admit what I do.
In turns, short distances, whatnot.
Do you get
like
the
pass it,
screen along the way? Before
I
you send it on him in the turn.
Well, of course. How else would I do it?
Diving on the inside.
Especially big truck.
and then he's playing M&M's around the outside.
God, yeah, no, like coming in at the last minute, getting around them.
I will say now, I don't know if this was influenced by sim racing. I don't think it was, as Willie loses it and his camera goes crazy. I don't think it was influenced by sim racing. I think I've always done this, and I've gotten a ticket because of it. But basically, when I pass, if I'm coming for you, I'm coming for you, which means I'm tight on your bumper before I pass you, and then I'm whipping out. I'm on the throttle 100%, and then I'm back in front of you as quickly as possible because I don't like sitting out in that lane. I don't cut. Don't misunderstand. I don't cut anybody off. I make sure there's plenty of space there. I check my rear views and everything. But I'm saying, like, I'm out, I'm around, and I'm back in as quickly as possible. But I don't think that was influenced by sim racing at all. That's just how I do it.
Yeah, I don't think that's involved with sim racing because when I pass, I'm already doing 80 at least.
Mm-hmm.
So.
No, I've been riding your tail for a minute, and you know it's coming. You just have to wait for it and take it like a man.
No, I come out of nowhere.
I want to throw this chat one in there because I think this one's hilarious. Rob Keysar with, when I'm merging on the highway as a passenger, I say clear on the left.
That's the sort of stuff I love.
Pull your line. Okay, clear.
That's amazing.
Oh,
Oh, unbelievable. All right, guys. So we are ready for Misano. We're all set for this week, but let's talk a minute. And I don't know if anybody will be able to hear you guys. So give me a second here because I want to talk about this. I'm actually going to drop back to our starting screen because I haven't set everything up yet. Actually, no, I'm not, because if I do that, that's going to be bad. But let's talk about, first of all, we got Trackalicious Sim Racing along with 949 and Box3 Motorsports. 6 Hours of Donington starts in November. Don't forget about that. Season 4 continues, as we said, next week with Misano. We're doing sprint racing for the next 2 weeks, Misano and Snetterton, and then we finish out with a Suzuka Endurance of 45 and 60 minutes each. It's going to be a great end to the season coming up on November 6th. Xbox Season 5 is starting up literally this weekend if the patch fixed everything, because those guys are struggling right now, but they're going to start off at Barcelona. The one thing I want to mention is coming up on, and let me get back here, coming up on October 29th, we have the Spooky Race coming. Get ready, because the Spooky Race is coming. It's Nürburgring, right? We're going to the Nürburgring, and it's a 4-hour endurance race. And there's going to be a livery contest, like a costume contest for this race. So bring out your best liveries for this race because it's going to be a contest, and I get to pick the winner. Whoever has the best spooky, weird nighttime livery that's going to annoy me because actually during the race, I'm not going to be able to identify you. That's fine. Whatever. I don't care. The point is I get to pick the best one. So everybody should get those liveries together. It's going to be an absolute fantastic time. And the other thing I want to mention is, guys, don't forget, we got the 24 Hours of Spa coming up. It's important. We're raising money for Extra Life, Children's Miracle Network, hospitals across the United States and Canada. Please get your teams in. Start getting them in now. Get them registered. Hit me up directly. I'm Molson FL on the server, Adam Thursby, because I think it's important. We come together, we do this stuff as a league, and we're gonna. I want to raise a ton of cash this week for those hospitals. And if you have a specific local hospital that you want to raise money for, put your team together. Get me your stream info so I can promote that during the course of our stream of that 24 hours coming up in November. You guys have anything coming up? Anderson, what do you got going on besides racing with us?
Honestly, that's all I really stream is the races with Box3 and maybe some practice prep leading up to it. Other than that, I don't really stream much, but I'm pretty active on Box3. If anyone wants to do any like LFM or pub races or anything like that, I'm always available.
Rock on, man. Willie, what about you?
Always available.
You're not
all
always
right.
available.
Wow, wait, I heard that backhanded roast.
Holy
I don't know.
cow, they called
was
you
me.
out hard on that.
One to talk, Mister. I get all my setups for Anderson. I throw that roast right back at you.
Handbags into
Yeah, but
old
you-
ladies.
Unbelievable.
Anyway, no, I've got the 10-hour race, the work Saturday. Woohoo! Here in November, I am going down to Virginia for a big airsoft game. So that'll be all weekend. That's why I can't race the last race of the season.
Is that where you shoot people with fake bullets?
Yeah,
that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Little BBs.
Oh, I don't know if we're allowed to show this on stream.
No, you can. You can. It's not real
It's
ammo.
It's a little white
Please do.
ball.
Oh,
Like
those.
little
Okay,
like
Yeah.
there you go.
like little pellets.
Yeah.
Well, Willie, if my kid wanted to do airsoft for a while and then he kind of got out of it, but if he ever decides he wants to do it again, I will hook him up with you.
No.
Okay.
Plan backfired.
Wow.
No. I'm just getting into it as well. So.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Retro, what about you, man? What do you got going on?
I'm off until the next beer cup next Tuesday. I'm gonna be attending the Indy 8 Hour here this whole weekend, so I'll be busy with that.
Nice.
Then, yeah. So I'll watch other people struggle to drive, not me.
There you go.
And, yeah, that's about it. Beer cup and a couple races with Pan Am. We're doing like 3 hours of Zandvoort.
Excellent. And what about you, Davis? What do you got going on over there?
So aside, well, I've got obviously be taking part in Misano this weekend. I've been convinced to do LFM here as well, so I need to do more public lobbies. And it's very much early days, but I'm looking at starting a university sim team.
University sim team.
Yes, they do a lot of real world motorsports. They build sort of radical style cars and go karts and things like that.
Okay.
They don't have a sim racing team yet, so I'm thinking, okay, I can do that. I've got experience.
Now, is this now when you say university, this is your school, your university that you're attending?
My university, yeah. So
okay,
people basically representing the university in sim racing.
Excellent, man. Excellent. That is fantastic. I love to hear stuff like this. Anything that's going to introduce more people to the hobby, right, and bring them on board. I think that's absolutely fantastic. So that's awesome, man. You're going to have to keep us up to date on that and see how that goes, and let us know how that wraps up, or how that grows and people get involved. So yeah. I assume the school's supporting you with gear and everything. They're going to have some kind of, I don't know, PCs or sim rigs or something that they're going to provide that'll allow you to have more than one person at a time driving.
The luckily we do. The university does have its own sim rigs.
Okay.
Including one enormous one, with sort of this like massive panoramic screen with a single seater cockpit sim.
Awesome. No, that's awesome, man.
I went to the wrong school.
I guess.
If I can grab a photo of it, I'll stick it in the Discord for people to look at. It's not like Formula One grade, but it's up there. It's really cool.
That's awesome. That is no, I think that's fantastic. Anything that again introduces more people to the hobby, I think is great. So the fact that you're jumping in on that, I think is an awesome thing. Altruid, is there a chance we can get names under each box? Dude, I'm gonna try, but we change every week. Like there's different people here, so sometimes it gets difficult. But I 100% will try and do that coming forward. Again, guys, this show is growing. It's changing. There's more things I want to bring into it. Like again, talking about random questions about sim racing, like we did this week, and also. I want to open it up to more sim racing news so that we can talk about those things, whether it's something like Rensport launching or the fact that Dakar Desert Rally is garbage because how do you not support any Fanatec wheels out the box in 2022? But whatever. I was going to do a video review and it made me so upset I couldn't even do it. So, but I will try and bring that in, Altruit, to try and help you out, help everyone out in the future. As I said, this show is growing. We're going to keep expanding and making it better as we go. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, I want to wrap it up tonight. Don't forget, Spooky Race is coming up this month. We are back to Misano on Sunday. Thank everybody so much for joining us. I want to thank all these gentlemen, including Davis, who you can't see because he's a sneaky boy over in Wales with no camera. And someone did ask earlier in the chat, and so I'm going to address this real quick. That's a nice hat, they said. Did that come from anywhere special? That is a nice hat. I like it. I think it's fantastic. And yes, this hat and this shirt will soon be available with, ACC on one side, iRacing on the other way. We're just doing some kind of product quality testing before we talk about some Box3 merch. So somebody did ask, I think it was Palm Tree, asked that earlier in the chat. So yes, that's where that hat came from. And hopefully those things will be released soon. But other than that, guys, anybody have anything else for this week?
Are we doing the sim rig roast?
Oh,
I was thinking that too.
Oh, God. Yeah, I completely forgot about the sim rig roast. Holy cow.
I was about to say, that's like
thank
the
you.
traditional ending.
No, thank you for reminding me because I completely forgot about it. So let's get over there right now. First up this week, Craig Everett. So this is, I want to talk about Craig Everett's and not because I think I want to roast it. It's not because I want to roast it at all. It's because I'm concerned about his safety. A monkey driver rig. I don't know what that is. Odyssey G9 49-inch monitor, DC racing pedals, Fanatec CSV 2.5 wheel and base, and his PC is a Ryzen 5 3400G with an RTX 3070. Here's where I'm concerned about Craig. That chair looks like it should fall backwards every time you push a pedal.
I was
And again,
wondering where the
Actually,
support
isn't
for that chair is.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's not a-
non-existent.
Yeah.
It's not a roast at all because I think it actually looks pretty good. I like the monitor. It's big and wide, right? Like single monitor. I'm going in that direction myself, specifically for racing, because triple monitor can be really just a pain for a bunch of different sims if you don't. I don't know. There's a lot of them that have problems with it. Point being is the chair looks like it should fall over. Am I
It's
not
very
wrong?
Physics.
Physics.
Yeah, I would
Physics.
imagine it looks like somebody must
It's-
have worked out the physics of that.
Yeah.
It's a minimalist approach. I like it though.
Oh, I like it. And,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm saying. Like, I kind of like the setup. I do. I just, when I saw the picture, I'm like, oh my God, I feel like he's in danger because that chair's going to roll backwards and the monitor's going to fall on his face and kill him. And I don't want
No,
that
that's
to
why he has the
happen.
guardrail on the back.
That's,
Yeah, I
oh,
was
that's
looking
what
at
that
that.
is. Okay.
Yeah, like the handrail.
He's sim racing on a ledge.
On a
Like,
That's what I was
landing,
thinking. Yeah.
Living on the edge. Ugh.
Awesome. All right, so that's Craig's rig. Again, I think it looks fantastic. That I love the 49-inch monitor. I started recently looking for ultra wides myself, and just the last couple days, and someone told me that I shouldn't go with a G9. I don't know. Apparently, there are problems with them, or
Don't even. I got a G9.
It's,
They're
it's something-
great.
You're either going to have people say, "Oh my God, they're excellent," or they're going to have to be, "No, they're trash."
I'll be honest with you. It's kind of finicky every once in a while. The right panel will have some static,
Mhm.
but it's usually like a driver update issue and it goes away. I think I've got the latest model and it really hasn't given me too many problems.
Okay. Yeah, everybody told me to stick with 34-inch because bigger than that, I had to go G9, and I did not want to do that. Apparently.
How much is the G9?
Black Friday, they're less than $1,000.
Oh, that still sounds expensive. My goodness.
Yeah, the G9 49 inches is
Yeah.
very expensive, and they can charge that much because they are the only monitor in that size range.
Yeah.
Whereas if you go
No, I think there's
for-
another one. It came out this year.
Is it
I think there's
Acer?
another 49-inch.
I think Acer might make one. Can't remember
Yeah.
though. But yeah, if you stick with 34-inch, you've got a lot of competition. Like I use a Dell, and I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah, I've heard 34-inch is a good size to stick up there, like right behind the wheel, right here.
Mm-hmm.
And will work well. So we'll see. That might be the direction I'm moving. But let's move on. Manu, the official Box 3 livery designer, Logitech G29, Ryzen 5 1600 AF, Radeon RX 6600 XT with a 32-inch Samsung TV and a seat from a Chevrolet Corsa. And I want everyone to notice he has a co-driver.
Absolutely.
He's got a co-driver, which my idiot cat will do the same thing, except they like to dig their claws into the back part of my seat, and I
Ooh.
want to punch him in the face. So there's already there's nail marks back there. I don't like to talk about it. For the most part, I cover it now, and they stay out of it. But G29, I mean, the only thing is, and I could not find it. I'm pretty sure Manu now is up to triples, but I couldn't find the image. For some reason, I couldn't find the picture, and it angered me. But I think he's up to triples
I think
now.
he upgraded.
Yeah,
I think he did upgrade.
He did, but I could not find the picture. So Manu is now up to triples, and again, he is the official Box 3 livery designer. If anybody needs a livery, go hit up Manu on Discord. He's going to take care of you 100% because his liveries are absolutely fantastic. I'm going to tell you right now.
Chef's kiss.
He's gonna have a lot of people. He's gonna have a lot of people hitting him up for the Halloween one.
100% him.
Yeah.
Oh,
please.
Yeah.
The amount of money he's gonna make.
But listen,
yeah.
I'm gonna say it. The Halloween one, you better be on point because you're not gonna win. You're not gonna win my approval with some simple thing. So if you're doing a Halloween livery, you better get on it. That's all I'm saying. It's got to be scary. Or
See,
spooky.
if I do one, you're gonna love it. 'Cause I
That
already
I have
an
no
idea
doubt.
for it.
There you go. I want to see them. They're going to be fantastic. Let's go. Let's go to the last one here. Steadfast, another console racer, Xbox Series X with an Acer 32-inch 4K monitor. Next Level Racing FGT frame and an ES1 seat. Fanatec CSL-DD, the CSL Elite pedals with load cell, and a Formula V2 with P1 wheel, or I should say a Formula V2 and P1 wheels for it. So Steadfast rocking it out on the Xbox. I gotta say, the Xbox guys don't slouch when it comes to this stuff.
Well, is he also in his garage?
He might be. It looks like it.
Because it looks like, look,
He's got shelves and stuff. Like if something falls down and takes out the monitor, that'd be a
that's gonna
day.
suck.
I feel like the monitor is in danger, isn't it?
And also, I'd also question the wisdom of the 32-inch 4K seems awful small for 4K. Like 32 inches is sort of like still look. You should still be looking at 1440p, really.
Agreed.
Nope.
Agreed.
Yeah. Also, Acer. I've got no thoughts about Acer.
I don't know. Acer hasn't been bad to me in the past. My monitors right now are MSI, and I love them to the point where my
I love MSI.
the curved
Yeah,
34
MSI's
that I'm
good.
looking at is going to be another MSI. I think low cost, but relatively decent build. So
They are. They're definitely.
yeah. So these three that I have are 27s, 1080p, 144 hertz. They work really, really well. So. Yeah, but they're steadfast. I'm just glad we're seeing the console drivers participate in our rig roast and putting those pictures up there. I do have concern about his monitor should something fall off a shelf, but poor Steadfast. I mean, I don't want to say poor Steadfast. He's a very lucky guy. He's got a great wife. He had a kid in the last year and a half. He just doesn't get a lot of time to race anymore, right? Because of young babies, and young babies will do that. So this poor rig is probably sitting neglected, feeling
Willie?
What's up, Willie?
No, he's got a kid too.
yeah.
Well, I mean,
and
I
he's
have
a year and a
kids.
half.
Oh, he's a year and a half. So you're about the same,
Yeah.
around about the same time as Steadfast, and so you feel it. You get it, right? It's not easy.
The kids. I mean, what? I love my child. I love him.
Here's the thing.
No.
Here's what you have to remember. You put in the work now, and mine are now 15 and 18, and they don't want to deal with me. I get to race. I get to race and drive as much as I want because they simply don't want to deal with me. It just is what it is.
I want him to be my little racing buddy.
I tried
That's what I
that.
want.
See what you do is like you have them and then you make them do all the chores while you sim race. It's a long-term investment.
Yeah, I don't know if that's gonna work for you. I don't.
Yeah, you have to wait at least 4 to 5 years to start doing that, though.
Yeah.
You're good. You got time to prep them.
18-month-old ain't doing chores is all I'm saying.
Oh no.
And I did try, and let me tell you, the disappointment is palpable when you try and get them to sim race and they're like, no, I want to play Fortnite. I want to play Minecraft. I'm like,
Ew.
whatever, go be a Gen Z kid, I guess. Whatever, it's fine.
Nope. See, if my son wants to play any video games, he has to beat Dark Souls first. If anybody knows anything about Dark Souls, he's not doing that.
How much are you
twisted
saving for
individual are you?
therapy already?
Huh?
How much are you already saving for therapy? Like,
Yeah.
He'll be all right.
Here's Dark Souls. Here's Elden Ring. And you know what? Just for fun, here's Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2. You go figure all that out and beat me, and then I'll let you drive the car.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I'd do that.
You better pay him. You better pay for that therapy up front. Like Retro said, you better get it ready and pay for it up front. All right, guys, we're going to wrap this up for this week. I want to thank Anderson. I want to thank Willie. I want to thank Retro. And I want to thank Davis for joining me right here for Recovery Drive. Get ready for Misano on Sunday. I can't wait because it's going to be dry. I'm pretty sure it's going to be dry. And I want to watch these guys just blast into each other again. And then we're going to do another wet race so we can prove that when we put the rain in, y'all slow down and don't act like idiots. So I 100% can't wait for it. Misano on Sunday. And iRacing with myself hosting it just for fun. And Willie is playing with the camera again, man. That thing bounces around a lot, dude. It's scary.
My mother
glad-
keeps calling me.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm glad my camera doesn't do that because I don't have any pants on, so I got to make sure my camera's not falling down and dipping. It's probably like if my camera started going, oh my god, like this, like everybody be scared, be freaking out. Bare Necessities in the chat. Thank you, my man. You are so awesome. Thank you for being here. Thank you to everybody for being here. You guys are fantastic. But again, iRacing on Saturday. From my perspective, I'll be driving Circle Racing with Willie. He'll be on track. We'll talk to him through iRacing VC during the course of that race. He can yell at me for being slow or for running into him. I'm not sure which is going to happen. And again, we're back for Misano on Sunday for the continuation of season 4. So many events coming up. Thank you guys so much. Thanks everybody for joining us. And you guys have yourselves a great week, a great weekend. And we will see you very, very soon. You guys have anything to say on the way out?
Peace. Bye. Hey,
Yeah.
thanks.
Later, guys. Thank you, everybody. Talk to you soon.
Leichte ist das Schwere.